is often billed as one of the most hotly tested and exciting fixtures in the Premier League calendar. Manchester United versus Liverpool, decades worth of love and hate between the two teams and supporters, lots of drama, lots of excitement. And this season, the biggest conundrum for Man United fans going, who do they want to win the league? Their big rivals, their local neighbours, or the old enemy from down south? They got to pick one, and the poison is not sweet. This is One Kick from Glory. I'm going to be covering that game and all the others that happened this weekend. And I'm joined as always by Craig.
Yeah.
And Matthew.
What's up?
And we're going to start with that match at Old Trafford. A 2-2 exciting, pulsating draw between Liverpool and Manchester United. A result that makes the Premier League title race even more exciting than it already was. A result that let Jurgen Klopp making some very interesting comments about Man United in the next game. But I want to hear your thoughts, Matthew, about the match and how you saw it going.
It was a fun match, man. A fun match from a neutral perspective. Like, obviously, a lot riding on the line. Like, the funniest thing I heard was reading all the predictions where they had Liverpool just destroying Man United in this funny way. I know they lost their previous game against us, which was stressful but fun nonetheless. But like, it was like we always say that we're coming and running. Like, certain teams can have such an influence on the title race, and this was one of them. I mean, I always thought Liverpool would win. I just didn't think it was going to be a particularly easy task, especially where they want revenge from the last time they came around, which was the 7-0. So that was not going to be happening again. But I was seeing all around all these bettings, like they're having like 6-1 whoopings for Man United at Old Trafford. And I'm like, even I know that's not going to happen. It was only, less than a month ago, they had another classic for the FA Cup where Man United came and turned around and won. So people have to bear that in mind, that like, for all what Man United are going for, the one thing, if they're going to turn up for any game to claim any kind of trophy they want, is going to be beating their oldest rivals of all time. And they're going to take that. And they're going to take some delight in pinching a draw off of them, which not easily, but somehow could have been a win if it wasn't for a silly penalty gone away the other side. Because for all what Liverpool were doing, even when it was 1-1, there were no real clear, obvious signs that they were going to score. Not the usual foray of constant barrage from their front men to go ahead and try and win the game. It seems to be that I don't know what's happened in like the last two times they've gone there. They seem to score and then they sit, unaware that, like, you're in the midst of a title race. It's gonna take a little bit more. I know you're comfortable, per se, but you're only the title race has been mad for years. Not like how it was with Man City where they were like that far ahead. You got to do that a little bit more. So I don't want to give credit to Man United because I won't. But it was, we'll go credit with being a fun game. But no, it was an interesting watch. And it's turned, in the space of, a couple of days, the title race has changed again.
Yeah, the title race is definitely changing. It's been changing all the way throughout this calendar year. It's been very interesting to see how the teams have moved around. I guess for you, Craig, when we talk about like the attacking performance of Liverpool, and like Matthew said, it was very uncharacteristic. And I remember the reaction from Jurgen Klopp when the score is 2-1, and we're going to talk about the goals in a little bit, but he was just so exasperated. He was flinging his hands around. He was running up and down the touchline. He looked livid with what he was seeing. He did not recognise his team. But let's talk about their attacking play and how you viewed it in the match.
Attacking play was good. Diaz was running at them. Salah was running. Núñez was running at them. But I thought that maybe Liverpool got too complacent. They got a bit cocky. Maybe they forgot about the defeat in the FA Cup a couple of weeks ago. That was not fresh in their minds, because they're fresh in their minds. They would have gone, when they went 2-0 up, when they were winning, they would have gone to scored more goals and killed the game off. And then there's no man that would have come back into the game. But I think Liverpool got relaxed. For we're 1-0 up, we'll hold out. And then Man United, the great Man United, or the Man United of old, came back to bite them.
Yeah, Man United definitely did come back to bite them. But I guess we'll start at the very beginning with the first goal of the game. A set piece tucked away by Luis Diaz. I know in the post-match interview, in Sky, they did ask Kobbie Mainoo about it, because he did initially have Diaz, and Kobbie gave a very good diplomatic answer to say, as a team, we have our responsibilities, and we'll analyse it later. But for you, Matthew, how did you see that opening goal for Man United, for Liverpool against Man United? Rather?
I mean, you felt it coming. You felt it was going to come by. You just didn't know what kind of capacity. And it was a great finish, by the way. Really, really, really good finish. And normally you think from that, they go off in there and just go do an absolute madness. But for some reason, I don't know why, but they didn't. It was credit to them. It was a fantastic goal. The build-up plays there, you know what Liverpool like with their build-up play. They give you the kind of warning shot that this is coming. you know, and from that goal, they were just kind of they were trying to get this second goal, but it's just they kind of lacked that intent of like, you know, with 3 points, we need the 3 points because the draw is just not good enough because, you know, goal difference is like your goal difference is crazy compared to theirs, which is something I've said for the last few years. But I just don't think like there was no, I mean, but defending as well by Man United, he had a lot of space and time to kind of hit that goal away. But that's it. Yeah, excellent finish. You can only really do something like that when you have time. And what I've learned from, like, say, the Chelsea game recently is that it's the exact same problem. It's all about that time that he had. But why they didn't go off and build on that and capitalize that, I'll never know. But it just seems a bit bizarre to me, and I kind of feel, not that I feel sorry for Jurgen Klopp, but I get the frustration because I'm looking at that thinking there was more that could have been got from that attack, you know, because it's just there were missing chances that they should have scored. They were complicating things that are normally quite simple. I mean, Nunez had trouble. Salah again, I think he missed a couple of really good chances, at least getting them on target. You know, Luis Diaz didn't do much else from that. Had some near misses and things like that, but nothing really. There were nothing really that Man United couldn't contain in a certain way. So it was a bit of a letdown to see a team that's known for their press just not find a way to make it work.
Before we talk about Man United's equaliser, I want to talk about the save Onana made against Luis Diaz, the 1v1, where we all thought Diaz is going to tuck it in, and he put a big left hand up, tips it over the bar. There's been some pictures going around on social media of Onana putting Vaseline on his gloves pre-match or during the match, and some people are, you know, taking it to extreme, saying like, this is very Bush, what's going on? Like, fans being very what's all this? But it is a known thing that, you know, adding a bit of Vaseline on your gloves does help with grip for goalkeepers. I'm not recommending it for goalkeepers that don't do it, but it has been found to be quite useful. And we know with Onana, he's got butterfingers anyway, so that is any little thing to help him is appreciated. But for you, Craig, how did you view his performance, and especially that save he made at the time when he made it, when the game could have easily at that point gone to 2-0 and then kind of
if Diaz scored that chance, it would have been game over. Liverpool would have won that game 100%. There's no way it would have come back. The heads would have dropped, and a good confidence boost for Onana as well, because he had a very, what can I say, testing season.
Testing is nice.
Testing season. I'm being kind. Testing season. I'm not going to say it had a rubbish season. I said that testing season. So I thought that save would have boosted his confidence, and that would have boosted the defence confidence as well. And the young lad playing defence as well yesterday alongside Maguire.
He looked good.
He looked very good. He looked very, very good playing alongside him. It looks like a season pro. Yeah,
Kambuala. Like, and the thing I liked about him as well is that every time he did a good defensive action, whether it be a block, a tackle, a clearance, turn to the crowd, like, come on. Like, that's a proper United fan right there on the pitch. And you need that in your team sometimes. You really do.
I feel like with United, I feel like the younger players or from the academy are outshining their current expensive players. And that's the problem. If your youth players are doing well, then maybe in the summer, maybe you need to get rid of some of the average big money spending players that you bought on big wages and sell them and just promote the youth. So Alex Ferguson did it with Beckham, Scholes, Giggs, Neville Brothers, Nicky Butt, Paul Scholes. So maybe United might have to go down that route again.
I think Man United just need a plan.
Yeah.
Any plan, and one they can actually follow through. Because you're right, I think the option of going youth makes the most sense when you look at their squad, the players that are performing the most, and there's some high playing players that need to be moved on. But at the same time, you can't just go youth without a proper plan.
No, but youth,
because we've seen that with Chelsea.
Yeah.
They have youth. There's no plan behind it, so it's a bit of a mess. But you're right.
They don't have a good manager. That's why.
Oh,
We don't.
We'll talk about Pochettino in a little bit, but yeah. Let's talk about the goal to make it 1-1, because it was a mistake from Kwanzaa, and he's made several mistakes against. I think this is like the third mistake he's made against Man United in the games they played this season, which has led to goals. Crazy thing to say, but it's another mistake from him. But you can't take away from Bruno's finish. Because him to even attempt that, to cut across it. And, I found it funny that Keller with his dive was trying to save the ball, because if he had touched the ball, he would have been sent off for denying a clear goal scoring opportunity. and I wonder, though, with the game, would it have been better for Liverpool if they went down to 10 men?
You never know.
You never know. Because you'd think Man United like the counter-attacking football. If you give them all the ball, what are they going to do with it? They don't really play much passing football. No, they don't. They really struggle to move the ball out the back. You know, I mean, it's really interesting because like there was a mini alliance of some Arsenal fans. I'm not saying we were supporting Man United, but we were definitely appreciative of their efforts at the weekend. I would never say we were fans, but we definitely were hoping that they would deliver on a result, and they did an okay job. We appreciate it. Should have been better. Could have been a lot worse. But that's the thing with them. Their passing was so poor at times. Like, they just struggled to string together 2, 3, 4 passes. The ball just kept springing off players. Casemigos. I struggle to understand how a player that was that highly regarded at Real Madrid, you could almost think of him as like Claude Makélélé back when he was at Real Madrid. When he left Real Madrid, things fell apart. The difference is with Casemiro is that his departure, Madrid already had 2 players ready to go to replace him in Camavinga and Tchouaméni, you know.
And
Valverde, but different type of player. But yeah, so they haven't really missed him not being there because they supplemented him way before. But for you, Matthew, how do you look at performances like that of Casemiro? I know he didn't play today, but likes of Varane when he's just off it, and then a little bit Rashford, because I do think he had some good moments, but it always feels few and far between. Like, how do you evaluate them in the squad?
I mean, you expect more for the reputations they come in behind. You know, Casemiro has won anything and everything there is at Real Madrid. Varane, same thing, not including the World Cup not that long ago, you know, from someone who's highly tipped as one of the best defenders in the world. You know, with Rashford, we all know where we stand with Rashford as a homegrown player, a guy that, you know, the way that you look at Saka, the way that they look at him is like one of those homegrown talents who's going to bring him back up to glory sort of thing. He's been around for long enough. He's not a youth anymore. He's a big man. And I just think he's at a... But also at the same time, someone like him, that you know, the mentality is just not there. I think he threw himself into other things. I just think, like we've all said, he needs that arm around approach to kind of really bring the best out of him, because he's a United general. He is a United general and has the abilities and the stock to be leading that front line. But we've also agreed that if he went abroad, I think he might flourish anyway. But with someone like, you know, with the likes of the Casemiro thing, the expectation is there because you know how to win. And the one thing that Man United want is to win. They've done this in the past where they brought players in from other clubs where, you know, they had a winning mentality, a sense of glory and achievement, and they come in and they add into that. But the difference then was that at least back then, the stock of Man United was so good. There was something there to build on. There was a philosophy of, we are going to win. I may kick a shoe at you or throw something at you and might fall out. But at the end of the day, we win. So the thing is, you can criticize it all you want. If it works, and you could probably in this light they call it a little bit toxic. But back then it was never a thing because they were winning and there was never an issue. And obviously they talk about things now and then. But nowadays there's not that sense of, what's what I'm looking for? There's not that sense of not fear, but intimidation when you go there. You know,
we just don't respect them anymore.
The respect has gone. The reputation has gone. They've gone from an outstanding to a requires recruitment. If they were a school, and they're bringing any Tom, Dick, and Harry to try and think they can fix it all up. All the different managers they've had, from Moyes, Van Gaal, Ragnick, Ollie's at the wheel, Mourinho, which could have worked if they stuck with it. And now we've got Ten Hag, and Ten Hag had a fierce reputation coming from Ajax, and look what they've done to him. They, apart from a Carabao Cup up and then the potential of an FA Cup final, they've turned him into a running joke.
You know what? I can't blame Man United for Ten Hag. I'm sorry, I'm blaming Ten Hag with Ten Hag because you've. How many players has he been involved in their signings, and it's just not worked out? Getting Weghorst on loan, bringing in. Like
Amrabat.
I
forgot he was there. He came on yesterday. I forgot he was there.
Mason Mount. Mason Mount.
Anthony.
Before we even get into the human Beyblades, you wanted these players.
Onana.
So you can cry about everything, but you wanted these players, and yet there was better options available you didn't push for.
Yeah.
Why you didn't go for Kudus? We said it last week, but it's the truth. You managed the guy. You went to Ajax and you picked the worst player from Ajax you could buy to play in the Premier League. No, honestly.
You can't run. You can't go past a man. You can't beat a man.
He can't create separation. He can't do anything.
He killed Onana, who was a Champions League finalist only about less than a year ago, and look what he's done to him there.
He killed Sancho's career.
Kill Sancho.
I think Sancho was bought pre-Ten
I
Hag,
mean-
right?
I mean-
but I know, he didn't manage him well.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
even then, like policy-wise, away from Ten Hag, Man United's transfer rulings, and this is how I'm looking at it with Man United. Right? This is how I look at it for you fans. Yeah, we suffered in with the banter era with Wenger. We were still doing stuff. FA Cups. I mean, you guys have won a couple of trophies a couple of years ago under Oli. So if Oli won them stuff, right? No, was it
Ten Hag
Mourinho
won 2, and then Ten
Hag
Hag won the Carabao Cup last year.
season. So you guys have won a couple of trophies in recent years. Here's the problem. I don't see a strategy to get you guys back to the top. I don't see it. You tried the superstar manager route with Mourinho, it failed. You tried going for the philosopher route with Van Gaal and didn't give him the time. You sack him after he win you the FA Cup. That's embarrassing. If they're giving him one more, if Rashford had one more season under Van Gaal, he would probably be at Real Madrid right now.
Facts. That's facts.
Probably.
Let him go. They let him go too quick.
Because he just hasn't developed. He's only now you can argue that he's starting to develop again under Ten Hag, but even then, the habits are so ingrained in him.
No, but I personally feel that when Mourinho was was Mourinho gave him his debut, or was it Van Gaal?
No, it's Van Gaal.
Van Gaal gave him a debut, yeah.
And did Rashford play under Mourinho?
Yeah.
I feel like when he played under Mourinho, he got coached out of playing as a striker. He played more out wide. He wasn't a striker again. He brought in Ibrahimovic.
Ibrahimovic,
Then he brought in Martial's playing as a number 9 as well. So I thought that he should have, if Van Gaal, you're right, if Van Gaal was still there, then Rashford would be a number 9. A clinical number 9.
Just one more season. He just needed one more year of that development. Because again, I mean, he the Arsenal game really helped elevate Rashford to the prominence of. I mean, you asked Man United fans, they knew about this kid in the academy called Markus Rashford. They knew that there's this guy. He looks sharp. They had a few injuries. Got a chance against us and got the 2 goals, and that's it. His career's taken off. But at the same time, I look at his game and I see the same mistakes from back then. Where's the skillful dribbler? Like even the game against Liverpool, he got the ball, a breakaway ball, great running down the left. Gets near the byline, and I'm thinking, okay, he looked like, okay, I'm like, right, cut it back now. You've lost the right back, just cut it back for Højlund. Takes another touch. Defender robs it off him. And then you could look at it and say, oh, it's unlucky, it's unfortunate, but this is part of the development issue because even the way he made that run, where you're running is in an area where as a defender, I want you to go there because you're not going near our goal. Remember the goal he scored against us early in the season at the Emirates when he that got the ball on the turn, shifted and then slapped it in bottom corner? Was that last season? Last season.
And this season as well.
Yeah, so this season, that goal, right? I look at that goal and I sit back and I think, you should, because you did 2 seasons in a row, you did the same type of goal. You should be doing that all the time. Because you've got the ability, you've got the striking ability, which we all know, and you've got the tricks where you can just drop a man with no fuss. So I don't know why
I think
he just plays the way he plays.
I think it's a Theo Walcott syndrome. Say if it happened to Theo Walcott, when Theo Walcott first came onto the scene, my man was running on the game against Liverpool. Remember that game when he ran past 3 or 4 man and then laid the ball off to anybody else to score in a Champions League game. Same with Rashford, when he was young and he came through, he was raw. And he had that pace. He was running behind players, take on strike defenders and all that. I think he's been out-coached. They've out-coached out of his game to run at defenders and be a menace. Now he's very, how can I say, PlayStation kind of football he plays now.
He's turned to a provider.
Yeah, he's not the kind of guy that if he beats one man, he'll take a shot. Like Ronaldo. Look at when Ronaldo first came onto the scene. Ronaldo will go do a trick and then he just stop. Ferguson coached it out of him. No more of that.
Yeah.
He just had the final end product. Every time he ran that goal, it's most likely more time out of 10 he was going to score. 8 out of 10 times he will score a chance of him running through on goal. Same with Rashford when he first came onto the scene. If it was one-on-one with a defender, most likely he'll put it in the back of the net. But now, it's too indecisive. You don't know what he's going to do. It's like, is he going to shoot? Is he going to pass? He doesn't know what to do. He looks lost on the pitch.
And it's one of the things that I think I remember Man United fans were saying after the PSG game a couple of seasons ago, Mbappe, let's see you outside. Here's the difference between Rashford and Mbappe. Mbappe has perfected a couple of types of strikes to get a goal. One of the goals he's been doing consistently for the past 3 years is the running in off the left, cutting inside. You think he's going to shoot far post, he shoots near post through the defender's leg, it's always the keeper's near post, and the keepers can never save it. I've seen him do it in the World Cup. I've seen him do it in the league. I've seen him do it in the Champions League. It's the same finish. Doesn't matter what competition, and he has perfected it. And Rashford has got a similar cut-in smash shot, but he's not perfected it. And that's the difference. Mbappe has that as his weapon. So you can try mark Mbappe. It's tight. He'll just do a little drop of the shoulder, couple of step overs, shift inside. And again, you think he's going far post. He's going near post. So you're going to shift too far left and the ball's going back right. And he always gets it inside. The accuracy is, and the power. And it's always low. So Markus, please, I beg, do better. We're going to talk about the moment in the match which really did settle things and helped Salah get... Well, actually, before we get into that, because we'll talk about that in a little bit, Mr. Aaron Wan Mustafi. But we're going to talk about Kobbie Mainoo's goal. And actually, what's really interesting is that there's a clip online, and if you're watching, it'll be in the video, where they overlaid Federico Makeda's goal. I think it was against Sunderland that he scored. Aston Villa. And it's a similar position, similar type of strike. Goes into the same part of the goal. The only difference is Makedo was falling down as he hit his, whereas Kobbie Mainoo was upright. Brilliant finish. I feel like we just ran out of superlatives to describe Kobbie Mainoo. But for you, Matthew, like, how much money are you going to bid for him come the summer to get him at Chelsea?
Well, before that, he's going to go to the Euros. I'd love to see him at the Euros, like a young, raw, unpredictable kind of talent. Because, you know, at that age, in that profile of game, you know, sometimes you want that bit of youthful arrogance, that youthful courage, where he's just like, you know, he's in the box, you don't know what he's going to do, and the worst thing you do is that he had time to do it, but he still had to perfect the shot and get it in the corner like he did. It was a brilliant shot. Like, he's the kind of guy in the box like we would love alongside other players, because he didn't think, he just shot. And there's a lack of players, not just in my club, but a lot of time around the Premier League, where they're in the position, they're always looking for the pass. No one's looking for the shoot, where if you have it, take it. I'd rather you do that than money around. And because even if you miss, I know that you tried.
Do you think Bowley would try and make a bid for him in the summer?
I mean, I can't. I don't know. I don't want to see what that guy's thinking in his head, so I can't really answer. It wouldn't surprise me if he's already trying to do it with all the players probably got and going out the door. But even if it's not someone like him, like the mentality that he has, or the other players, like, that's what you do. Sterling, Jackson, Gallagher, all you man in the box, Mudryk, all you guys when you're in the box, you do not have to look for the bloody pass. This is what frustrates me so many times when players like that, attacking players in the position, go for the shot. You don't have to be... That's what's killed Rashford. That's what's killed him. He's become so systematic and obsessed with efficiency and numbers, you forgot that you're a footballer. And it's not all based on numbers, statistics and things and that. I know it suits certain people how they want. Maybe that's not how you work. Maybe that's not effective for you. Maybe it's all good to risk it for that little bit of biscuit. You know, the best players, he's got a good career ahead of him if he stays fit. But like you said with Mbappe earlier, the best ones in particular in attack have a way where they're able to pull something out of the bag that they're not expecting. Likes of him, Drogba, Henry, Aguero, not Lukaku, because it didn't work. He ain't coming back, by the way. But you get my point, where is that you figure out what works kind of best for you. But I just love that kind of I'm gonna do it attitude sort of thing in such a high profile game. And you argue from there, mate. I'm not saying that Man United were necessarily gonna stay on and win, but Liverpool didn't look like they were gonna even draw because of all the chances, and then they got the penalty. But yeah, I mean, just it was a hell of a sucker punch, especially from someone you're not expecting it to come from. Yeah, great, fantastic finish. I mean, I wouldn't mind having him. If you're in the FA Cup, bit of an incentive, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean that's a big one. If you win the FA Cup, so here's an interesting statistic. So we're going to talk about the penalty, and we're going to kind of get everyone's views on it and what they think. Last season, Wan Bissaka had the highest percentage of tackles against dribblers in the Premier League. In Europe. So let me rephrase. Let me start that again, guys. I got to get this right, because it hurts, all right? It hurt on the weekend. It hurts. 82nd minute. He did that. He has the highest percentage of dribblers tackled in Europe's top 5 leagues. That was last season at 92%. This is a guy who has literally got YouTube compilations of his slide tackles. He knows how to do it. He knows. Somehow, some way, he saw Harvey Elliott and got confused and thought, I might be able to do it against this guy. And went in for a tackle. He shouldn't have been going in for it as a slide tackle because we all played football at various levels and we all know you don't do a slide tackle in the box from the side. You just don't do it because you just don't know what the player is going to do in front of you. Unless you're very clear you're going to get the ball. He didn't. But that being said, Craig, what's your thoughts on that foul? Because our Wan Bissaka pulled a Mustafi and I'm not happy. He went from Wan Bissaka to Wan Mustafi in 1 quick minute. Threw away all the hard work of Manchester United as the unofficial alliance, which was had at the weekend. But how did you feel about that tackle?
Schoolboy error. But I blame the defenders around him. Maguire, experienced, former Man United captains right there. He could have told him, don't dive in. Could have told him, don't worry. They had loads of bodies in the box. He was going nowhere. And then someone just shouted, if an experienced player like Maguire said to him, don't dive in. We got him covered. He needed someone to tell him. He was worried that there was no one behind him. That's why he made that tackle. It was a desperate lunge. It wasn't a tackle, it was a lunge. He thought he could win the ball, trying to be clever. But Elliott is a clever diver. Yeah, so he knew that the challenge was coming, so he just put his leg there, bang, took him out, penalty. But I thought that Maguire and they had all the defenders around him should have shouted vocally. Even the goalkeeper could see from that angle, could have shouted at him, told him, "Yo, don't make that tackle. We got you covered." It's all about communication.
Yeah.
Lack of experience.
What's your take on that, Matthew?
I think he panicked. Because he saw just how much closer he was getting to the goal and worried that no one else. I didn't think he acknowledged, like Craig said, that no one was behind him. I mean, he doesn't know he's not going to get a shot on. If anything, probably should push him out a little bit further out the box just for how many people are there, because then that will force him to pass. And by the time he sends a ball over, let's say it's like Darwin Núñez was having a bit of fun on the left-hand side, he's still going to have time to think to do it. They still got so many bodies in there. They didn't need to do it because they didn't look, for all the maybe half chances that Liverpool had, they didn't like scoring until they got that penalty. And even after the penalty, it still felt like, something can happen from there. But yeah, he'll look back on that and feel like that was a bit of a gift. That was a gift that he's given, and I think he knows that, because it would have been a great 3 points for them. A double over them in the same year, the same month or whatever. But no, I think he panicked. Really do think that he panicked.
Yeah, it was very much a very immature tackle from a player that we all know can do better. Like I said, he's got YouTube compilations of his tackles. I mean, tells you what he can do. But unfortunately for most of us, didn't do what needed to be done on the day. How big of a impact do you think this draw will have on Liverpool's chances for the title now?
I still think they've got another slip in them. For 3 teams,
Liverpool do.
Yeah, because I had them finish third. They're the ones that, with the holes they have, the pressure they have, and just the fact that, it's not so much of the intensity that they're under, but it's the good vibes that they're under, and how you achieve under good vibes and the desperation are two very different things. They've already got one trophy in the bag, and it would be great for them if they got another one, for them anyway, to get another one. But I think it just leaves them most vulnerable, if that makes sense. Between the two of you, between Man City and Arsenal, I genuinely can't pick. And even after this weekend, I still can't pick. But I just feel I see them finishing third by a couple points, whoever's second. I just think that there's another slip in them. I don't really see it in the other two. I really don't.
Well, I'm intrigued to see how it all pans out. It's going to be a very exciting race. Arsenal where they need to be. And we're going to talk about their game in a little bit. But first, we're going to talk about Manchester City, as they have done really well. Very good performance against Crystal Palace. A great goal from Palace to open proceedings from Mateta. And I really do feel for Palace fans. I really do, because they have gone through a crappy 3-year period, maybe even longer, but let's say 3-year period where they just have not progressed. They've stagnated. They've been told to accept mediocrity, which is not right, considering the culture of the club and the community and what they have been capable of producing. This is a team that have beaten big teams in the last few seasons. They've put up some great results. Man United will know, as with Elise's free kicks, they know. But unfortunately, they just haven't really kicked on, and they just have a very kind of unbalanced squad. And it's just a shame that Man City are in that title drive mode, because, the goal that Crystal Palace scored to go 1-0 up, sloppy pass from John Stones into midfield, intercepted, 2 quick passes, one in behind and Mateta's in. Brilliant pass. Excellent. Superb finish. 1-0. And you're thinking, is this the day when Man City slip up? 4 minutes in, 1-0. Nope. Up steps the robot. And Kevin De Bruyne. He's now hit 100 goals. I think it's 100 Premier League goals for Manchester City. It's a 100 club goal. Craig, how impressed are you with that alien freak of nature robot that is the Belgian?
You remember in 95 or 96, 95-96 season, Eric Cantona came up from a suspension. The guy when he came up from suspension, he scored in every game up until the end of the season to win the league for United. Newcastle had I think it was a 10-point lead or something like that.
Yeah.
And he wiped that 10-point lead out, wiped it out clean. The runner's having that moment, having his Cantona moment. Since he's come back from injury, I don't think the City have lost.
No.
They haven't lost since he come back from injury. Him and Rodri has not lost a game for Man City in the Premier League when he plays. For how many seasons he's been, that's a good stat. The only time Man City have lost games when Rodri is injured or suspended, and that's hardly ever. So, Kevin De Bruyne, what can I say about him, man? Premier League legend. You could be up there. You can name him in your top 10 or top 20 of best midfielders of this generation of all time. The guy's a clutch player. He knows when to score at the right time. He didn't do it against us the other day. We kept him very quiet, but he knows how to turn it on at the right moment. But still with Man City, I would say Man City still got to play Tottenham. That could be a slip-up game. They have got all the rest of the games are winnable games. So you look now. The only thing I could say that they might get distracted with the FA Cup and Champions League. So you would think if they got Madrid this week, so you think if they have a hard game against Madrid away, then their next Premier League game they might struggle. But no, Man City they got massive. They got 2 squads. They can pick 2 teams. They got Edison who hasn't been out of the team recently. Ortega done well the other day and made a world-class save. So they can always rotate the squad. Carl Walker's still injured. He can come back into the team. So they've got players who can just Phil Foden didn't start that game against Crystal Palace. And he's been their most informed player this season. So they got options.
They do have options. And speaking of their next game, they have Luton at the Etihad Stadium.
Come on, Luton.
So now, before we get into that, the thing I want to mention is we've got the news that came out today that Everton were deducted 2 more points as part of the whole financial rules thing that they've been charged for. We're still waiting on Man City's. Just in case, Premier League, you'd forgotten, it's 115 charges. I mean, you should add interest on that because we've been waiting. You've charged Everton twice, Nottingham Forest once. So, and also Leicester have also been charged as well, which is, interesting how that happens if they and they have to get promoted as a result, because if not, they're kind of in a bad place. But when are we going to get those results? Because we're in April now, and some of us just want to know. I'm not saying we need the deductions, but we just want to know. Because if Everton can get hit twice, Forest once, I don't know, Man City, no pressure. But, can we do it before the season ends? Just saying. So I bring up Everton because now with that 2-point deduction, they're down to 27 points in 16th place. Nottingham Forest are on 25 points in 17th, as are Luton on 25 points, but they're in 18th place. So this points deduction really kind of opens up the possibilities, not just for Luton Town, but also for Burnley to potentially go on a run. So with that in mind, Matthew, and considering Luton's last 5 games, they have lost 3, drawn 1 and won 1. Man City's last 5 games, they have won 3 and drawn 2. Could they pull off the shocking result of the season and win at the Etihad? Because it would be a shock.
It's not impossible. It's not impossible because with Luton, you have to ignore the scorelines, especially when they go away. They fight. You have to ignore. You can't look at the scorelines all the time. They are a fighting team because when they went to Liverpool, they scored first. And even when they came to Chelsea and lost the first time at the Bridge, it wasn't a foregone conclusion. We had to work for it because we're still very much in transition sort of thing. When Man City went to them, they scored first. When you went to them, they were winning at one point. When Liverpool they drew after like the longest time. They're a fighting team. They're a fighting club, and they're going to want to. Their main thing is want to try and maintain survival, even if it means finishing in 17th. Do I think it will happen? Absolutely not. But I do think that a twist in the tail is to come. Like I said, City and Arsenal are the 2 teams I don't see much of a weakness in, but it doesn't mean there's no room for surprise. You know, you're playing these teams, much to my annoyance, but you're playing these teams at the wrong time. We're now in April, let's say 6, 7, 8 games left for teams. They're going to want to survive, and they're going to try and, even if it's sometimes a foregone conclusion for some of them, like say Sheffield United or whatever, they want to try and see, and just to see if what happens, and another team might slip up. You know, Everton, Forest now been dragged into it. What can happen there? So they're going to fight at every point that they got. So from here on in, these last few, there are no more easy games. And if I were Man City, I would take each game, Pep probably will anyway, each game is a must win. Absolutely.
Yeah, they're definitely going to have to keep pushing on with that mentality because it's like I said, it's a crazy tight Premier League season. And just looking at the table at the very top, there's not any margin at all between the teams. You've got Arsenal sitting first on 71 points, Liverpool in second on 71 points, a goal difference. Arsenal's got goal difference of 51, Liverpool's of 42, separates the 2 teams. Man City in third on 70 points, and in fourth is Tottenham on 60, and that's where it gets really interesting because Villa are also on 60 points in fifth. So the race for top 4, the race for the title, the race for Europe, and the relegation battle, they could all go down to the last game of the season. The way how things are stacked up. I mean, I suspect that Sheffield United will be condemned within the next 2 games. But I will not be surprised if they try and stage a late comeback. After what happened in midweek, with the goal that Liverpool scored to open the scoring, don't bother. Don't bother. The Championship will see you now. But yeah, let's talk about a team that, well, let's talk about them. And, speaking of a Championship, I know Chelsea can't get there, but sometimes you definitely do play like a Championship team. to draw away against Sheffield United. You know, I say that Sheffield will get condemned in 2 games, but you know, results like this, drawing in this manner against Chelsea, they've got Brentford away next. If they were to pick up 3 points, we might have a conversation here. We might. But as it stands, the Championship is calling you. Pick up and answer. Anyway, and I know you'll be happy to see them gone. But Matthew, let's just talk through the match because you started off really well. Good early win, good early goal, Thiago Silva to get you guys in head. And then Sheffield came back and got an equaliser. Madueke put you back in front. And then the Bozo gene kicked in. I mean, I can't even call it Charity FC anymore because Charity FC at least did it in a way where it didn't derail your season. You're not even just Charity FC. You're just wide open. Take open house. Take what you want. It's all for free. Don't worry, we'll replenish the stuff. Just take what you want.
IB for Satans.
If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't want to know. But yeah, talk to me about your team and this match in particular.
Defending or lack thereof is exactly what cost us in our goals. The first one is a goalkeeper howler as well, but at the same time, is in no way that the attacker should be getting where he is. He literally sends the ball through the defenders. And by the time we turn around, he's already gone past through. He's beat the offside trap. And Petrovic, he tries, but he just gets his hand wrong and it just flies right in. And after the second goal, great goal by Noni, by the way, great goal. Again, the second one, it's all down in stoppage time. It comes down to just poor, unorganised and naive defending. And the subs he made as well have just kind of killed this game off a little bit. I was wary of this game because they're a team that are fighting, and when we ever go to Bramall Lane, it's never been straightforward. We got whooped there 3-0 once. We came on with a cheeky 2-1 a few years ago, and here again, nothing seems to have changed. But this after Man United game, like that absolute thrill of a game, Cole Palmer saves our back once again. It's a shame that we couldn't go on something of a run. We're unbeaten in a few games, bear in mind. We are actually unbeaten in the last few league games. But this is where we want to see a little bit of a run, because Man United drew. If we won, not only we're trying for 7th, we're trying for 6th. That's the difference between conference and Europa, because ideally we want to get back into Europe for this young squad, this brand new young squad. I want to try and go and make an impression. It'll be a good sense of confidence to show that they've achieved something, to get into a European competition after a year out. So it would have been great, but it just seems like we just make it hard for ourselves sometimes. I think Poch he panics sometimes. The same thing which nearly cost us against Man United definitely cost us here with 3 points. And I don't want to go ahead and after that game, after I've calmed down that Man United game, in reality, it was rubbish. It was rubbish. In reality, we got the goals, but we still conceded 3, and we were coasting, we were winning. But again, down to mistakes, naivety, a lack of discipline. A lack of discipline cost us, and it's not every time that Cole Palmer's going to come up and save the day. And he wasn't there against Sheffield United. But I can't blame him. He's a young lad, and we're putting all of our stock on him. If he don't score, who does? Sort of thing. We'll come up with save the bacon. So it's defensive frailties, and that's just it's irritating, because this could have been the start of a run, because the next properly hard game we got in the league is you at the Emirates. And I saw what we did against Man United. I saw what we did against Sheffield United. I saw what we did against Burnley.
Preach!
I am wary of what's going to be going on when we go to the Emirates, an Arsenal team that really and truly almost don't have any weaknesses.
5-0.
I'd say at this point, just ask for the scoreline and we'll see what we can do. What number would be respectable for you to hold?
Hope and a prayer, man.
Is he going to hold quite a few?
Bodie got paid. Bodie, whatever transfer he had in mind, don't bother, man. Just pay these guys just not to pipe us too hard. You know what I mean?
We're going for the title, mate.
You know what the funny thing is, yeah? You know what the funny thing is? I can see us going there and nicking the cheeky 1-0. I can see it happening.
You're the only one that can.
Deluded FC.
Please do.
even the most optimistic Chelsea fans that I know, they don't have that level of faith. But hey,
I'll put it on my. I'll bet on something.
If you don't beat us 1-0, yeah.
Let's not even say that. But yeah, I mean, look, you have bigger fish to fry. Like you said, you've got a potential of getting Europa League. 6th is the target. You're only 5 points behind Man United.
It's doable. It's so
and you have 2 games in hand.
That's the worst thing. 2 games in hand.
Yeah, you got 2 games in hand. So, I mean, they have a game as well. So let's say 1 game in hand you've got effectively off from them, but 2 games in hand, you've got 2 games more to play. You could do it.
Imagine, but that's the annoying part is, yes, we beat Man United. What if we got the win against Burnley? What if we got the win against Sheffield United?
You would have been comfortably
that's
there.
6 points.
9 points.
Yeah?
9 points.
Yes, no, because it was to 2, because Sheffield United was a draw, Burnley was a draw. We beat Man United.
No, but I mean...
No, they're saying beating Man United after that. So you get the 2 points.
It would have been 9 points altogether.
Yeah, 9 altogether. We would have been so comfortably there, but it's so frustrating because it's there. It wasn't like last time. Last time we were playing for survival. We were playing for survival last time. We're past that. We're actually going to play now. We're actually getting to a position where we can actually finish somewhere semi-respectable with a possibility of an FA Cup final as well. It just makes it annoying.
So the question to you, Matthew, is if he doesn't win anything this season, doesn't get into the Europa League, would you sack him?
Yes. He should have been sacked after Carabao. But the only saving grace he had was that we're still in the FA Cup.
I watched this funny TikTok meme at the weekend, and it was 2 Tottenham fans talking about their secret operatives that they got in the field, They mentioned Eric Dyer going to Bayern Munich. Harry Kane going to Bayern Munich. They mentioned Reguilon going to Man United. And the lady was like, oh, but Man United not missing out on Champions League. Exactly. And then they mentioned Pochettino. They said, we've hired, we have 2 Tottenham managers. Like, huh? Ange and Poch. They said that Poch at Chelsea is an inside job. What's your thoughts on that?
He's the little Spursy mentalities are still creeping in just a little bit. He's like, oh yes, I've got a chance to win a game, but I don't want to win, so I'm just going to bottle it right there.
You got to play them soon, don't you?
We've got to play him again as well.
Where's it? White Hart Lane or?
No, it's Bridge.
Oh, you should beat them.
It makes it worse.
You don't need to beat them.
You have to beat them.
I want to get a double over them, man. I really
For Poch's pride and to disprove this obviously it's TikTok is fun. I hope it's a joke.
Yeah,
but at the same time, Reguilon, Dyer, Kane,
Mount.
No, because Mount's not Tottenham player. The 3, and then Poch. It's kind of adding up. And they mentioned that Man United, they had already sent Eriksen. So that's what he did a good job so far. And they sent the Reguilon just to kind of bolster down a bit.
Some of the things people come off with, man.
I mean, listen, if we lose, if we don't beat them,
it's mad. It's mad.
You two really hate each other. Tottenham and Chelsea really hate each other, man.
we've got to win, man.
But yeah, you definitely need to bring it all together because I don't even know. Have you got a hot take for this week?
I was thinking of one, but I had 2 good ones last week. Remember, I had my really good one with England not making that the thing, which I'm still kind of like scared is somewhat of a possibility. Oh, that's one good one. It's a bit rubbish. It was more or less to do with transfers and like betrayal players sort of things. So it's about you guys. William Saliba is going to betray you soon.
I mean, look, I would understand if he gets to a point where if Real Madrid comes knocking, he decides he wants to make that move. The question for me is like, where are we as a team at that point? If we are winning stuff, I would find it very strange to make that move. If we're falling short, I'll join him. I'll join him. But yeah, I mean, obviously, we have the issue of how he went out on loan. I know that him and the manager have patched that situation up, but you just got to think about his team, his agents, representatives, because he hasn't got his mum and dad anymore. They've both passed away. So like, it's his agents really and his friends that he's got around him. So you got to just wonder like, what would they be saying? I love it. He's an Arsenal fan, he loves the club, but at the end of the day, it's business. This is your career.
It kind of reminds me of a Nicolas Anelka. When Nicolas Anelka was at Arsenal back in the day, when his brothers were his agents and he was doing well at the club, and then Real Madrid came in for him and he just told the club he wants to go to Real Madrid, and Arsenal had no choice and had to sell him. Just French, both of them are French players. So.
Yeah, there is that concern. I think the only difference is Anelka wasn't really an Arsenal fan growing up, where Saliba was a boy that is an Arsenal fan. So there's a different kind of connection. And when you see him celebrate the goals, like he cares. Like I said, I think it would depend on circumstances. Like if he was to leave, I would want to know where we are. Because if we're going on our trajectory right now, the only justification I would give is that he wants to try a different league, have a different experience, because we've won all the things to win in England. But yeah, we'll have to see. Let's talk about Arsenal as our last thing for the podcast. Waka waka, ay. 60 million down the drain. Kai Havertz scores again. We, as a team, are finding new ways to just be annoying. We can suffocate you. We can pass you to death. We can do long ball. We can do short ball. We can do high press. We can do low block. We've got a lot. I think in this Brighton game, I think we flipped between like 4 or 5 different ways of playing. Even at one point, De Zerbi was sat on the bench and just covered his face with his jacket. He's just like, what do I even do? what do I even do to counter this? Like, we press them high. We press the back line. Raya drops it long. We back off them. They pass around us. We try attacking. They just drop back and absorb the pressure. Even in the 90s, I think 89th or 85th minute or whatever, there was a chance for Brighton. Gabriel blocks the shot. Man celebrating like he scored a goal. I've not seen that much passion since the Man City guys were doing that a couple seasons ago when they were on their march for the title. So like, it's crazy. Like what Arteta has created, this monster of a team that is statistically one of the best teams in the league this season. This calendar year, we have the best record defensively. We don't let teams get anything. 3 games against Haaland, the guy's done nothing but bump into my defender and take his hair out of his ponytail. He ain't done nothing on the pitch. Last season, he was up against a little mouse. This year, the Lions are there, and he ain't doing much. But Craig, how happy are you with that mature, grown-up performance? And do you think that the team have really developed the steeliness that will be necessary to bring it home?
A couple of seasons ago against Brighton, or if we're playing them in a title race, like last season, for example, we'd gone to Brighton last season, would have lost that game. This season, we've got resilience. Like the pain of last season, losing the title last season, has strengthened us up, has made us tougher to beat. We're hard to beat. We're not considering. I don't know if we considered a goal in 2020. I think we only considered 1 goal.
I guess 1 or 2.
1 or 2 goals, 2024. And I told you, our defensive record is good. Our attacking is good. Kai Havertz is scoring goals for fun. It's his best goal scoring season in England since he's been in the Premier League. Since he's been in England. Jesus had a big impact on Saturday, won the penalty. Saka's back in form again, scored the penalty. He hasn't missed a penalty for Arsenal since last season against West Ham. His penalty record is good. Odegaard being superb. Declan Rice, 105 million. That's a bargain. I forgot West Ham 100 million more.
Hey, West Ham, hold that.
I forgot West Ham 100 million more. Trossard came off the bench and proved against his former club. What a goal. Martinelli, I'm a bit surprised Martinelli keeps on playing on the right these days. I don't really see him play on the left like he used to.
I think that's just as he's building his fitness up.
Okay.
They're just probably playing him out there just to get him back into the run of things.
Who else?
Let's talk about David Raya. 12 clean sheets, the most in the league so far this season. Behind him is Jordan Pickford. Jordan Pickford with 9.
Wow.
And then, let's go through the top 9, the top goalkeeper anyway. So Raya number 1.
Yeah.
12 clean sheets. Pickford 9.
Yeah.
In second with 9 clean sheets. Leno, Onana and Edison all joint third with 8 clean sheets.
Wow.
Damn.
Allison and Martinez and Neto at Bournemouth with 7 clean sheets. Sam Johnston and Vicario with 6 clean sheets.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Mad.
Jordan Pickford is second.
Jordan Pickford is second.
But Jordan Pickford, and look what Everton are on the table. You would think, why? Like Everton are struggling and they've got so many clean sheets.
But then the thing is, we say they're struggling, but if you give them back their points,
They'll be all right.
They'll be fine.
they'll be comfortably
They'll be
looking at you.
mid-table.
They actually would be, because what they got to 12 points they've lost?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you add up to
If you add
they'll be
those 12
39
points
points.
back onto them, they will be on 41 points,
Wow. They'll be
which would put them in 12th.
They'll be behind, just not far behind us.
They'll be in Bournemouth. Bournemouth have got 41 points right now.
Yeah.
Wow. But I feel like you know what, I have to say, like, my mind has changed about David Raya, to be honest with you, because when he first came to Arsenal and he made that mistake, he made 2 mistakes. He made that mistake against in Champions League. He made that mistake against Chelsea when Mudryk scored that lob goal. That was not a cross, that was a lob. Or cross.
It was a mishit cross.
Mishit cross.
Let's not give that
Hey,
kid
listen,
credit.
I'm having it.
And the Newcastle game when he fumbled the ball, he made it off. Yeah, did he make a mistake against Tottenham in the derby?
I don't know if he played that one, did he?
He did play in the
Well,
derby.
he did.
That was his first game.
He did.
I think he made a mistake.
He was a bit shaky at the back.
Yeah, very shaky at the back. Yeah, I feel like after that he's proven me wrong. I think what changed in his Arsenal career was that game against Porto, the Champions League game, when he made that penalty save, the penalty shootout save, and I saw that this keeper, he made an error in that Champions League game as well, the first leg, for the goal that he conceded against Galeno when he was way off his line and he just got lobbed. That was a good shot, but he got lobbed off his line. I feel like he's changed his narrative. He's more confident now. The back four trust him. You can play anyone in the back four and they trust him. They believe in him. And I feel like him would be nice if we could win the double this season just for him and the club. And I hope he gets the Golden Glove this season as well, because he deserves it. He's really proven me wrong.
Yeah, we just got to keep pushing, because right now we're doing all the right things. Thank you so much, Matthew, for giving us Havertz. I know we paid you a good amount of money for him, but I gotta ask this for you. Like, when you look at how Havertz is playing at Arsenal, when you think about how at Chelsea he had his inconsistencies, but yet you still got. I mean, he won you the Champions League.
He won us the Champions League.
Lest we forget, this is a guy that has got that goal scoring touch in him, and in fact, Craig will show me like these statistics of him and his time at Chelsea, and there's a lot of parallels between. You know, the years when you won stuff and what happening for Arsenal this season, there's similar results are all the same. An outcome was you guys won the Champions League. So I'm not saying Arsenal are going to win the Champions League. All I'm saying is that the signs are looking positive. We just have to get through 3 big teams on the way. Bayern, one of Man City or Real Madrid, and whoever's in the final. But how would you look at Havertz at Arsenal, and what do you think their lessons now, I guess, for Chelsea going forward and what you do recruitment?
Just have a plan and just have some kind of stability. Because when he first arrived, first of all, he arrived under, I think Lampard he arrived under. And then things were going wrong there. And then he got in a manager who knows how to win, who's very pragmatic, he's difficult to work with, he's a bit awkward, but he knows how to think. His best time was that those few months in the first time that Tuchel came round. Because he transformed his game and turned him into why so many other clubs wanted him, like you guys in the first place. And even in the second season where we had a little stupid strip on our sides in the Lukaku game, he was looking hot. He was looking good. He was in a system that kind of knew how to score. And I think towards the end, contract disputes, Roman going, I think was a big one because he was a driving force in that club and wanted to win and be successful. And I think with that pressure kind of off of him, the season where he eventually left, he became a great scapegoat because he was playing in the position where you wanted him to score, but despite the fact that he's not a natural striker, he can just score goals. And being able to score goals, any player on the pitch can score a goal. Doesn't make him a striker. That's not naturally where he is. Frank Lampard scored loads of goals. He was not a striker, for example. But I think he works best. He's kind of the opposite of, say, like a Rashford. Right? When you think someone like a Rashford can thrive off being like, do what you do best, which is be that, you know, like what Van Gaal did with him. I think with someone like Havertz, he works well in the system because he's kind of he's an enigma of a player because you don't know where necessarily he's going to play. I mean, in 1 minute you can find him at right back or something. It's that possible. But he's effective where he needs to be, like the goal he got. They're not amazing goals, but they're important goals. And sometimes those are the ones that you remember the most. The tap-ins, the head, the shoulder, the knee, the this, the that. He's getting the goals that make that little bit of a difference because it turns from 1-0 to 2. So naturally at 2, you get a little bit more comfortable, able to control the game a little bit more. And that's kind of what we miss with him. He might not have scored many amazing goals at Chelsea, but he scored important goals, case in point for Champions League. And that was the difference between that and defeat, basically. But I do feel like it was the right thing to let him go because he wouldn't have done much more at Chelsea. The direction just isn't there anymore. We're clearly on a massive reset, and he's someone who thrives under a system that's only improving day by day and game by game. And if all goes well for you, we'll continue improving after that. He's still young. He's got years ahead of him. Like we say this all the time about these young players where they've got time to improve and get better. And you can see that in his game when he plays for Germany. He's improved. He's gotten better. So, he's clearly a player that thrives under like efficient working conditions because that's when he comes by and just does the most. So, I don't regret selling him. It was the right thing to do. So, but what I do miss is his important goals. That's what I miss.
And I feel like that's a great way for us to wrap it up. But, Trossard got a great chip to kind of see a little reminiscent of Alexis Sanchez doing a similar thing against West Ham. I feel like this has been a nostalgia weekend. Chelsea threw away points unnecessarily. Kobbie Mainoo did a Makeda type finish. Wan Bissaka did a Mustafi.
Actually, there's a couple more things. A bit of nostalgia. James Ward-Prowse scored another great goal.
James Ward-Prowse throwing it back.
And Peterborough won a trophy with 2 great goals. Up the posh.
Up the posh indeed. And with that, we're going to see how the Champions League games go in midweek, and we'll cover them and the weekend's fixtures on the next episode. See you all next time.
Peace.
Peace.